What's going on, everyone? Today we've got a pretty fun one because we are utilizing a deck that someone came up with a win the game on turn 3 combo with BARRIS Red, which of course isn't going to happen all the time, but there are some pretty strong things you can do outside of it. Every once in a while, a deck on Star Wars Limited Database, the hot deck page, or just in general seeing the tournament decks catches my eye, and I just got to try it. Probably fail a bunch because these are sometimes very silly, very gimmicky game plans, and sometimes they're actually really solid. So we're gonna see what this one ends up being. Shout out to Fugushki. I hope I am not butchering that, but that is who made this list. Before we get started and talk about what the game plan here is, a big thank you to my patrons. Thanks for watching and thanks for supporting the channel. So what do we have here? What are we doing with BARRIS? How does this work? Well, very important, because BARRIS and Temple of Destruction are actually necessary for this to take place. The game plan here is for turn 1, we play a strike ship. 0-3, raid 3, overwhelm. Get in combat damage with our strike ship on turn 2, which is going to generate the force for us. With that force, we are going to use BARRIS's action to play Now There Are Two of Them for 1 less. This allows us to play an Underworld card for, well, essentially, because we have the 2 resource invested in Now There Are Two of Them, we now play something for, well, 6 less is kind of the way you could think about it. So on turn 2, we essentially could play a 6-drop. What 6 drops are we doing? We're playing Marchion Row. Marchion Row? Never really knew how that's pronounced, but maybe I'll look it up here in a little bit. It makes every raid double. So now we got Strike Ship. It's going to attack in for 6. So now we have dealt, or rather, we already dealt the 3, but the next turn it's going to attack in for 6, in theory, right? So then we pass. Next turn, we're on turn 3. This is turn 3. My opponent has 3 damage on their base. We get to, well, in theory, attack for 6. But before we actually get in that damage, we go ahead and we play the Independent Smuggler on our strike ship. This makes it a 1-4 with raid 4. So raid 4 coming in, smack in, you get to attack in for 9 points of damage. Okay, my opponent's at 12. Then you smack in for 6 points of damage with Marchion Row. That's going to be 18. You could go ahead and keep fighting to smack in for another a chunk of damage with Strike Ship. And then you could use a combination of various different cards like Surprise Strike with a cheaper BARRIS attack, all this other stuff to get in that last final couple points of damage. But that's kind of the game plan here. We got a bunch of other gimmicky stuff going on, sneak attacks, a bunch of Underworld cards, but really the game plan is to combo off. And we're going to see what we can do with BARRIS Red here. Alrighty, game number 1 up against Avar here. I did look it up for Marchion Row, and that is his pronunciation. That is the Star Wars official video, so we're going to keep it that way. I'm going to mulligan this hand because it's not the combo, and today we are trying to combo, okay? That is the goal today. Hand looks pretty weak, to be honest. I do like the Maklunki. I think that's going to be pretty good. I think the Lurking Tie is going to be relatively weak. But we'll see what my opponent's got on turn 1. They got Jedi Consular, huh? Well, I mean, that's going to be pretty good. And I think we're going to... Do I just Surprise Strike in immediately? That feels real bad. That feels really bad. I think we kind of have to, because otherwise my opponent's playing a massive unit here. Yeah, let's go Surprise Strike in, knock out the Jedi Consular. This stinks. Don't want to be doing this any whatsoever, but it's kind of just how the cookie crumbles, right? We're going to go ahead and claim initiative. My opponent can use the Force. Maybe they have Force Throw. Wow, they have Force Throw as well. That is incredible for them. What a turn. We got Aura Sing, Lurking Tie. Absolutely atrocious situation for us. And here, what I will do is just immediately attack with Gunji. Why? Because I don't want them getting 8 resources essentially on this turn. And we might be able to do something a little bit later on. We're going to play the 5th Brother. And I mean, we are mega losing this game. What a horrible start for us. And of course, what a great start for them. We get Now There Are Two of Them. Okay, Now There Are Two of Them doesn't even necessarily work with what we got going on. Sure. Pretty cool. I mean, Marchion Row can come down next turn, I suppose. Yeah, Yeah, well, deal 1 damage to hit the Kiani Mundi, I guess. Knock out Gunji. I mean, we can attack base here, but I mean, we're just losing so badly right now. That Dr. Evans on start was absolutely atrocious. I mean, I could have let the Jedi Consular live, but with Dr. Evans on the board, I just did not feel like we were in a position to really do anything to actually win the game if that was going to be the case. Sorceress Blast coming in, they're going to be able to knock out a unit, sure. And I mean, now they could do a million different things. I mean, Force Throw could come down. Jedi in Hiding's obviously amazing. Nihil Marauder looks pretty bad. I mean, yeah. We haven't even used the Barris ability this game yet. Attack at full 4, I suppose. There's a Bright Hope. They're going to bounce the Kiadi. I actually don't even know if that was a good play. They're going to attack in, make us discard, I guess. We're going to discard the Devastator, attack in for 4 here, play Martian Row, and then be pretty happy, actually. My opponent getting rid of a bunch of units is probably not where they want to be, honestly. I'm a little bit surprised that that is what they decided to do, which is bounce their Kiadi. It really reduces the power that they have on board. And now at least gives us an opportunity to potentially win the game. I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll find out here. We're going to go Cad Bane, capture the Bright Hope, actually, because I can go ahead and knock out the Obi-Wan Kenobi with the Martian Row here. They haven't been able to use the Force yet. Okay, there is the Force usage. So we're going to be able to get in for 4 here. Knock on Death's Door and knock out Obi-Wan Kenobi. Attack in for 4 here. And then pass. Again, 0 events. Like, absolutely no events that we could have used with Barris, which is a little bit unfortunate. So we haven't really used the Force this game, but we're still actually in the competition of winning the game, which is incredible, considering what we got going on. Independent Smuggler also, again, not just +1/+1 for the TIE fandom. It's going to give a massive amount of raid bonus from the Martian Row. And remember, last turn, we got a massive hit from Martian Row as well, which was pretty sweet. I'm going to bring back the Obi-Wan, of course. Makes a lot of sense here. Let's go ahead and... What do we want to do? I guess we will play Independent Smuggler with piloting onto the Lurking TIE. I know they can knock out Martian Row here. We attack in for a massive chunk. They have to claim initiative, which is okay. Because now what we could do is play out a couple different units. We attack in with the Cad Bane. They obviously have to go ahead and get back the... Oh, keep fighting. Huh, that actually doesn't quite work, but it's close. It's pretty close. We're going to go attack in with Barris here. I guess I could... What do I have? I have 3. I could go play this, use the action to keep fighting this up, attack in, knock out the Bright Hope, and then attack in. And now we have lethal threats across the board, right? Did a little bit of math in my head there. I was like, oh, I can use Barris action to cheat out a resource cost on this. And again, I mean, my opponent just bouncing the Kiadi Mundi. I mean, they're trying to go for a little bit of value there, but I don't think the game was really about that. I think they were just trying to survive to get to the late game, and they didn't quite get there. Cad Bane coming in pretty clutch here. They got Yoda, which is going to be pretty good. And they're going to be able to knock out Cad Bane, heal 5. But that's not enough. That is not enough. Yep, not enough. We just smack in, and that's GG. GG to my opponent. I'm surprised we won that game. Into the next one, up against what a lot of people consider to be the best deck in the format. Let's go ahead and mulligan this away. Again, we are looking for the combo, so I'm going to try to mulligan for the combo today, because that is our goal. This is actually really close. This is really, really close to the combo. Aura Sing is an underworld, not quite like the combo, because, well, I mean, it's close to the combo, because it doesn't quite have the same amount of raid as, you know, your... Oh my gosh, this is really close to the combo, actually, because it doesn't have the raid 3 that Strike Ship does, and it can't get Independent Smuggler. But I mean, we can actually get down Martian Row this turn, assuming our Aura Sing does not die, or they didn't put a Sentinel down, which is going to be pretty sweet to think of. I mean, that is going to be awesome. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have any removal options here, like an open fire. It is played sometimes. I mean... This is going to be pretty sweet. They got the Ogdo Bogdo, which is a good one. That is a very, very strong one. We're going to attack in for 3. Unfortunately for us, we're going to lose our Aura Sing here, but I guess that's okay. Let's go ahead and resource this Dr. Evazan. We're going to be able to drop in the 5th brother and probably go ahead and use the keep fighting on this turn with the Martian Row attack. And that's going to be pretty awesome. I mean, they're going to be able to attack into the Aura Sing and get some value going there. But then we're going to be attacking Martian Row, deploy the fifth brother, get it readied up, start doubling up that raid, which is going to be pretty powerful for us. It's just really unfortunate that Aura Sing is just going to die out this turn. Ogdo is one of those cards that was going to do some game, have a pretty good game up against us. We're going to get in for 6, get that force rolling so that we can keep fighting potentially if we want to do so. That is going to give us a couple options here. We'll see what my opponent's got as a follow-up play. 6 damage is a lot from Martian Row, and we did get a good start so far, at least a reasonable start. Strike Ship would have been literally game over, assuming they didn't have a way to deal with it, like removal-wise, if we had Strike Ship on turn 1, because the Ogdo would not have been able to deal with it. So, kind of unfortunate that it was the Aura Sing. We were this close because we had to keep fighting in hand. My opponent just taking a little while to figure out what they want to do here. Okay, they do not have the force, so we're going to go fifth brother here. And what's interesting about this is I can actually go ahead and attack into the Chirrut, which would allow me to kill it. But, I mean, because what happens is I get raid 2, and then I deal 1 to the Chirrut, which means it trades. I think I could do a little bit better. I'm going to pass here, and hopefully we pick up something a little bit stronger. Devastator's a little bit expensive. I think I'm going to rely on some of these other cards here to get me there. Rather than waiting on the 8 drop here. Raid 3 is massive. This is a 7-powered attacker. This turn I can go Nile Marauder. And by the way, my opponent can just knock out the fifth brother here. So maybe it was worth it to play Keep Fighting on the previous turn. I just don't know if that's how we're going to win. In fact, I don't think that's how we're going to win at all. But, you know, a little bit unfortunate. The Ogdo is just good. Because what can happen here is, if let's say they attack fifth brother, I attack in with Martian Row, just knock out Chirrut. I play Nile Marauder, I ready it up, I get to attack in for 7. That's a big chunk. You know, that is a huge chunk off my opponent's life total. And then I get the Barris deployed next turn with a surprise strike. I probably could finish out the game that way. I just don't think I'm winning if I'm using Keep Fighting to proactively try to kill the Chirrut. I think I need to surprise my opponent here, with my opponent having so much value with their Han here. But I mean, our game plan is pretty straightforward, right? We don't really have many options. It's kind of just like determining whether or not we want to keep fighting or not. My opponent, they got the Podamran, which is incredibly powerful. Very, very scary card. Let's go with the Nihil Marauder here. Then we will, I mean, my opponent could do so many different things here on the next turn. Very, very scared about that. Podamran is so, so powerful. Waiting for my opponent here. Do I want to use Keep Fighting if they deploy Han? I feel like not really. I don't think I actually want to. Because let's say I keep fighting here. Then they attack Martian Row. I get in for 7. Then they just attack us next turn with Podamran and knock out both these units. If I take initiative here, I still get in for the same amount of damage, which is really, really good. Okay, we have a nice combo here. Strike Ship, Keep Fighting, Surprise Strike is a really nice combination of cards. I'm going to resource the Cad Bane, actually, because that could be the ticket to getting the ending portion of damage in. And we get to immediately attack here with the Nile Marauder, because, again, this is doubled up raid from Martian Row, which is going to be awesome. 7 damage coming in for the Smackaroo. Boom, 7 damage to the Nile Marauder. That is absolutely fantastic. Again, they can knock out both units of the Podamran here, which is going to be pretty good for them. I could have surprise striked, actually, and probably would have been the game plan here that I should have gone with. But we'll see what my opponent has. Strike Ship looks like it's going to get in 6 damage, which means that they're at 22 theoretically, but they could have, you know, all sorts of different things to deal with what we got going on. Fell the Dragon coming in. We're going to go Strike Ship here. They can attack my Nile Marauder with Ogdo, which leaves Podamran to deal with Barris if we deploy. Really, really nice setup for my opponent here. Very, very nervous about what could happen here. Honestly, I think there is a lot of viability to be attacking. Wow. Let's keep fighting the Strike Ship. I'm surprised my opponent didn't just attack the Nile Marauder with Ogdo and then just knock that unit out. Because now they're forced to attack the Nile Marauder with Podamran, really. I mean, I guess they could attack my Barris No, because then they don't kill Barris and Nile Marauder unless they have something else to deal with it. Because I'm thinking like, okay, they can attack Han. Oh, they're just racing us? Are they making us discard a card is the question. I think you do make us discard a card. I think that's pretty reasonable. When you have 4 cards in hand, I don't think the game's going to come down to that. But we'll see. Sick damage means that, well, no, they actually have a really good chance of winning. I actually do like this play from my opponent. If they think that we can't win the game this turn, and I think it's pretty unlikely because they do have the damage with the Podameron here attacking to knock out us, just period, straight up, because they deal 2 damage with the Podameron to base. So they deal up to 16, then they go up to 19, and then they have, just straight up lethal. They just straight up have lethal. So what is our out here? What is our out? Because they make us discard 2. I think you make us discard. I think to deal 2 damage to Marauder, huh? That makes me think. Wow, that changes things a little bit. Let's deploy Barris. Because now that makes me think they're going to attack Nile Marauder with Han. I think the actual previous play of it going straight to base, if you do the math here, it actually works out very favorably for them. So they attack it for 5. They get 2 more damage plus the Podameron making us discard. That's at 16. We are forced to attack, puts them at 19. Let's say we have a surprise strike, which we do. They put us at 22. Then they can attack in that. Then we're at 19. And that means that a Podameron attack immediately kills us. So we have to draw something. We have to draw something, otherwise we lose. So they have to have something 3-drop wise in order to even have a chance in this situation, which it looks like they may not have. So we're going to attack in for 3. And they're going to be able to get in for 7, which makes all of these units lethal. Yeah, I don't know. They kind of went the middle ground of like, I'm going to attack your base, but also deal a little bit of damage and interact with your board. I think they should have gone one or the other. You go all in on the units or you go all in on the base. And I think the better strategy here would have just been all in on the base to knock us out. But just waiting for our opponent to make a decision. They got 0 resources in hand, so they have to attack with Han. I guess they're just deciding whether they want to attack base. I don't think attacking base makes a lot. Well, actually, attacking base, they still have 8 damage with the Podameron, so that's still going to be the better option. I think they should be attacking base here. And I should have used Surprise Strike, actually. That is a big mistake from my part. Here on the strike ship, because now if they do attack base, my only out is another Surprise Strike, which I believe we have 3 of them in the deck. I guess I also have a Cad Bane here that would get me there potentially. Nope, they're gonna attack unit. Okay, so really just interesting end game here. My opponent attacking a unit. Now, of course, they take initiative. We pass. We have a no good to mean dead or lurking tie. Both of our units are lethal. They have a lot of damage on board, but they need to knock out both units here, which they have a possible chance to do. Try to think of what would do that. I mean, there's not a lot. There's not a lot. In Vigilance, Heroism, Aggression. In fact, I don't know what exactly would get you there. An attack base. Yeah, I mean, my opponent could have killed us for sure. And I don't think there was much we could do about it, but my opponent just decided to go with the attack into, half base, half units. And because of that, we ended up winning. So I guess good on us. Alrighty, up against the Garth Saxon ECL. Once again, we're going to mulligan. We got no strike ship, got no, now there are 2 of them, and that is what we're here playing with. Okay, there is the strike ship. There are 2 of them. I like this hand. I like this hand quite a bit, actually. We can even now there are 2 of them in a Cad Bane should we, end up sitting around with 1 unit, but strike ship is where we want to be. And then hopefully we draw the Martian row and the keep fighting. And then my opponent has no power of the dark sides. They have no interaction whatsoever. They have no space units. I know it's hard to ask for, but that is the hope anyways. Okay, let's see what my opponent has here, because I may be tempted to actually kill off this 2-1 because we do have Overwhelm on the strike ship. So we're only going to lose out 1 damage, which doesn't give us the force. But if we don't draw like Martian row, I don't really know if I care about that. But we will lose the strike ship anyways. I don't know. Waiting for my opponent to pass. unless they have a 0 play, which I don't think they do. Another Nile Marauder. We can resource. I guess we'll resource one of them, and we'll knock out the Distant Patroller. We didn't draw the Marchion Row, so seems just better to go this plan. Outer Rim Outlaws, actually, Nile Marauder is really good against that because it is the 5th point of toughness, which is really, really sweet. We're going to pass. Got another Devastator and another 5th Brother. If our Nile Marauder or Strike Ship, one of them sticks around, we do have the ability to do some major, major damage here. With the, now there are 2 of them on Cad Bane. Let's go ahead and attack in with the Strike Ship. I think Strike Ship's going to be the less likely one to, okay, they're going to have a shield token. Not too bad. Let's go ahead and I suppose we'll just play the 5th Brother. And we'll let my opponent try to make their value trades as they go along in this game. I'm just going to go with base. I think we'd lose if they get to Vader, and we're getting close to it because we weren't able to use. Now there are 2 of them this turn, which is pretty unfortunate. I mean, I could have attacked base with Nile Marauder first and then hope they played a space unit. I just thought it was more likely for them to play a ground unit. And they conceded. I don't really know what happened this game, but I don't think we were winning at all. GG, I suppose. All right, next up, we've got Rose Green. Now, this is an exciting one. Maybe they're playing some pilots and some vehicles. Maybe they're just going for a full vehicle deck. I don't know what they're doing, but we're mulliganing this hand because we don't have a Strike Ship, and now there are 2 of them. This is a pretty weak hand as well. Dr. Evazan could potentially be pretty good. I mean, I'm going to resource the Bosk and the Devastator because we are trying to combo, which means we got to keep the Marchion Row, and we don't give it up for any means necessary. I know the boss could be pretty good for now there are 2 of them, but you know what? Like I said, we're here to combo. Okay? We're here to combo. I got my T here. We're comboing off. We're going to hope that we can win some games here with the combo. Dr. Evazan going to be the first play. I think my opponent with the Rose Green deck is not going to have many ways to deal with the Dr. Evazan. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that in, and we're going to see what my opponent's got here. Sneak attack. I mean, that could be pretty good with some of the things that we got going on. 5th Brother was a pretty good draw. I'm just going to get into some damage here immediately with Dr. Evazan. Hopefully we're going to get there. Maybe this should be a regular occurrence, guys. Drinking coffee, drinking your tea. Chewbacca, huh? Yeah, I mean, I am all for racing. I am 100% okay with racing. Ooh, and this one doesn't stop capture, does it? No, it does not. I could. This would cost 3 less. So essentially would cost 2. I mean, I guess I could sneak attack out the Marchion Row. Let's attack in for 3. Attack in for 3. Let's surprise strike in. I will deal 1 damage. I know this is awkward because I have to deal 1 damage to Dr. Evazan, but I do need to pump up my unit to make sure that I can even have a chance in this game because we're racing pretty hard. Like, my opponent's got the Chewbacca. We need to be able to sneak attack here out this Cad Bane and do some work there. That is the ultimate goal here. The game plan has changed, my friends. We have Daring Raid and Keep Fighting. Keep Fighting can ready up this 5th Brother. What options do I have? I can Marchion Row sneak attack. This is going to make it cost 3 less, which is essentially 2 less. That's going to be 4. I can't Keep Fighting as well. Huh. Let's go ahead and sneak attack out the Cad Bane, capturing the Restored Arc underneath the Cad Bane. This allows us to ambush the Rose Tico and just kill it, which is going to be super amazing if we wanted to do that. They have a blue leader, which means they can knock out Dr. Evazan, I suppose, and do some work there, which is kind of unfortunate for us. An ambusher that's going to be able to knock out Dr. Evazan is pretty good for them. We're going to attack, deal 1 to the blue leader. And again, this is going to double raid. So that means this is going to have raid 3, which is going to be pretty awesome. They're going to Luke Skywalker. And I mean, do I even care about the unit? I think what I do is just attack in for 7. My opponent can get the Restored Arc back. I mean, this is not a great situation for us to be in. No doubt in my mind. They're going to be able to deploy Rose Tico. They're going to be able to heal up the blue leader. They're going to be able to heal up the blue leader again after attacking. So I think we're actually in a horrible state because my opponent had... Why did they concede? Why are people conceding? What is going on? I think we just lost this game. I mean, they had a full HP blue leader here with the Rose Tico. They had the exact answer for Dr. Avazon. Honestly, I probably shouldn't have gone for the damage on the fifth brother because it just made it so that they have so many resources on this turn. And we couldn't use the keep fighting. I mean, next turn we play Martian Row, but it doesn't even have any targets. It's not ready up immediately. They attack in for 5 this turn and then another 4. That puts us at 19. They have a blue leader. Like, there's no way we win this game. There's no way. If we play Martian Row and then attack him with fifth brother, that's too many actions to win. Yeah, there's no way we won. And my opponent just conceded. Very, very strange. All right, everyone, we are here to combo. We have some parts, but not all of them. We're going to mulligan that one. Well, I mean, we got a strike ship. That's about as good as we can ask for, right? Strike ship into Lurking Tai Phantom. Seemingly going to be pretty good against a Thrawn player here. Although, Desperate Commando is not what I want to be seeing. Fifth brother, going to be the resource of choice here. And let's see what my opponent's got. Cobb Vanth. All right, Cobb Vanth is pretty sick. Let's go ahead and attack in for 3. They're going to attack in for 2. We're going to be able to play the Lurking Tai, and then we are going to pass. My opponent's got some, in theory, crazy things to do in the future here. Devastator. I mean, actually, I think Cad Bane's pretty weak here. I don't even know if I care about Cad Bane. A little bit unfortunate. I mean, I could sneak attack out this Bosk, but I can just play Boss next turn. They have Cobb Vanth. They're going to be able to double trigger Cobb Vanth. Maybe drop in some units here. We will see. They have the Night Sister Warrior and the Inferno 4. Let's go and attack in for 4 here. Night Sister Warrior comes in. We're going to play the Nile Marauder. They can technically attack the Nile Marauder with both units here and not even lose them. And we lose the Nile Marauder, which kind of sucks. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Let's attack in for 3 with the strike ship. They're going to attack in with both their units into the Nile Marauder. We're going to claim initiative, and they are going to be able to play the Inferno 4 as well, which is going to be kind of obnoxious. That Desperate Commando is going to look pretty bad for us. My opponent's got all when defeated triggers. We're going to knock out that Inferno 4, mainly because I don't really care about them double triggering that if they want to. I don't think they will, but I guess we'll find out, huh? There is the Onyx Squadron Brute. Sure. Let's go ahead and play Bosk, and I guess we'll not trigger the ambush. I don't even care about killing their units. They could just attack in if they want to and then double trigger their things. Lothwolf, huh? Interesting little combination. I like that with a Cobb Vanth. You can play it for free, so it doesn't even, doesn't even cost anything. That's pretty sick. It's pretty sick. I think that's really cool. They're going to be able to attack you with the Desperate Commando and knock out 2 units, which, oh my gosh, they got the other Onyx Squadron Brute. They have triple Onyx Squadron Brute out right now. That is pretty incredible for my opponents. Absolutely amazing situation for them to be in. We got No Good to Be Dead. It seems pretty weak here. We're going to go ahead and pilot out this Independent Smuggler onto the Lurking Tai. They're going to be able to knock out a bunch of... They have the Anakin, and it is GG, really. I mean, we have no other option. My opponent has the Desperate Commando, which has just been really, really good. I mean, they can attack. It doesn't really matter. We just... we had the Nile Marauder up against a great start from them. They have too much healing. I mean, they got too many things going on, really. This is going to be able to heal a bunch of damage. They're hitting my units, but my opponent doesn't need to be doing this. They could just be killing us. To be honest, they got too much healing. So GG to my opponent. We tried to get the combo off, and we did not. Another game, another attempt at the combo. This is not even a good hand, so I'm going to mulligan this regardless. Up against a Han Blue. Nice little classic deck that we're going to be seeing a lot of. Okay, this is actually really close. If we were to draw a No Good to Me, and now there are 2 of them, we are almost there. Now there are 2 of them, and a Keep Fighting would give us the true one-shot combo on turn 3. And that's sick. Okay, that is absolutely sick. But that requires us to just draw over the course of the next 2 turns. At least now there are 2 of them next turn, and then a Keep Fighting on the following turn, which is going to be pretty tough to do. All right, so not going to be holding out any hope, really, for that combination. But, nice curve out. Strike Ship, Nile Marauder. Ooh, they got to restore to her. Never mind, we don't get the one-shot combo. Actually, they have 28 HP, so I think we still do. Based on some of the calculations that we ran earlier. We're going to claim initiative. We're going to pass. We get a sneak attack. Well, sneak attack isn't quite there. That is not quite what we wanted to see. We're going to resource this Devastator. Not going to need the Devastator for quite quite some time here in this game. Let's see what we can do. I mean, Independent Smuggler, pretty cool, but can't actually reduce the cost with our BARRIS, which would be really cool. It would be cool to be able to use the Force just to get a 1 resource cost reduction on anything. I think that would be an insane setup. Oof. All right. Well, I mean, I'm going to change my game plan here because I'm going to put this Smuggler as a pilot onto my strike ship because now I will be able to attack through the Concordon interceptors. Usually people aren't playing this as of late. But, you know, people are making adaptations. They're going to attack him for 2. And then we will attack in, knock out their units, hit them for a little bit of damage. It's not super impressive. Oh my gosh, this is very, very expensive cards. It's really open for it now. There are 2 of them, to be honest. Let's see what my opponent's got, though. Shatterpoint, huh? Wow, someone's playing a Shatterpoint. Who knew? What exciting stuff. Yep. We're just waiting for my opponent to actually take their actions. Yep. Keep fighting. Okay, keep fighting can be doing some work for us. I like Sneak Attack, Martian Row, but I think what I'm going to do is just attack it for 4 here. Play out Nile Marauder. And then see what I can do after the fact. My opponent having the Yoda just restore to every single turn is kind of obnoxious. So, unfortunate there. Do I keep fighting this turn? I think I do because my opponent... I think I'm going to sneak attack out this Martian Row next turn. I guess I could sneak attack this out for 5 and then use BARRIS as actually to keep fighting afterwards. You know, that doesn't sound like that bad of an idea. I think I'm going to claim initiative because I could use BARRIS' action twice next turn, which means I can go sneak attack and keep fighting. Wow, my opponent has restore, deal some damage. This is going to give all Jedi restore 1. It's kind of obnoxious. Let's be honest, guys. Dr. Evison going to be the resource here. Let's go with the sneak attack Martian Row. I know it's a little bit unfortunate if my opponent has an answer to it, but there's not really any other plan that we have. We're going to sneak attack out Martian Row. This allows us to keep fighting. And actually, we didn't even need the extra resource cost reduction. I did the math wrong in my head. But sneak attack out Martian Row means that we're going to be getting a lot of damage in. Assuming my opponent has no answer to this, which isn't necessarily all that unlikely. Because they did already use a Shatterpoint. I mean, they have a lot of restore. The fact that they played multiple Jedi. Oh, they had to fell the dragon. It's so brutal for us. All right. Well, I mean, we're going to go to town. We're going to attack for 4. The game is basically over at this point. They didn't happen to have the Shatterpoint and the fell the dragon to deal with us. And now they're just going to have a million different ways. I know I could have attacked Yaddle or Yoda. I just don't think we're winning the game this way. Attacking with the Yaddle. Yep. They're going to be able to heal. The healing is going to be super obnoxious here. We could play Aura Sing at least, which can do some work, I suppose. But we're just going to try to ignore my opponent's units here. Are they going to knock out Nile Marauder? Probably. Let's deploy BARRIS. Going to be able to restore 3. I mean, so much restoration. So much removal, so much restoration. Nothing really crazy going on here, and we're playing the nonsense deck, so you know, nothing too surprising, I guess I should say. But hey, we almost made it. All right, I'm surprised my opponent didn't just knock out the Nile Marauder. Sneak attack out Nile Marauder. I mean, my opponent has barely lethal, or barely not lethal. They are 1 point of damage short, which could come back to bite them if we attack with everything. What do we have on board here? Let's say we were to attack with everything, right? We have 4, 8, 12. Oh. I mean, my opponent's just infinite removal. Never mind then. Perilous position. Guys. If I'm playing a combo deck, you can't be playing the Control Han Blue version. Like, what are we doing here, guys? We can't be doing this. We cannot be doing this. Cannot. Just not allowed. They're gonna attack in for 2. We're gonna attack it for 4. They're gonna attack it for 3. I mean, really just attack one more time and then we lose. Then there's nothing that we could do about it. I think use Grogu's action. Wow. All right, let's scare them. Let's go sneak attack Nile Marauder. They just attack. They just need to attack a base, and then they win. If they attack any units, they're making a mistake because they have lethal with the Ki-Adi-Mundi next turn, and we don't have lethal. But they are worried about this last card in hand, I imagine. So they can draw a couple cards. The Ki-Adi-Mundi, don't care. Don't even care. Sneak attack out Nile Marauder. Can we get there? Yep, they just attack the base. Again, there's nothing else that they need to do. We almost got there, but we did not. They attacked again. We claim initiative. If we got a sneak attack or a surprise strike, we win. Oh my gosh, there's the now there are 2 of them. Man, if we drew surprise strike, we actually win there because we have a raid. We have a 4-powered unit, which means my opponent, they definitely should have just, well, taken initiative. But GG to my opponent. A little bit heavy on the removal. Despite us playing the combo deck, we almost actually got there playing the Jake that we got going on. That's pretty funny. New game and another mulligan, guys. We want the hand. We want the hand. And of course, we mulligan into a hand with the possible worst couple of options. I mean, we will pass here on turn 1. Maybe my opponent just claims initiative, thinking that, oh, maybe they want us to play something into them. Okay, we will pass. They're passing back with an action take. And of course, we draw the the freaking now there are 2 of them and the 2-drop on the following turn. But that's okay. That's okay. Let's go ahead and Mercenary Gunship. My opponent obviously is just taking initiative because there's no reason to really rush the game here at this stage of the game. We can now there are 2 of them. Absolutely. We can drop in a Martian row, but honestly, we can now there are 2 of them baseline and play a Martian row without even using the Barris action. So it's not even that exciting. We're going to attack it for 3. I'm surprised my opponent didn't just, I'm actually going to now there are 2 of them out Bosk. Well, maybe I won't. Well, no, I will. I will now there are 2 of them out a Bosk here. And we will just knock out the Jedi Consular. Knock out the Jedi Consular, and then we'll pass. Aura Sing, another Martian row, or we have another Martian row in hand. I'm going to resource the 5th brother. Okay, Mace Windu coming in. They're going to smack us down. Kind of unfortunate. Of course, they have a really nice curve here. We're going to play out an Aura Sing. I mean, that was probably the card that we really didn't want to see, was the was something like a Mace Windu, something that could just kill our unit without ever touching it. It's a little bit unfortunate there. They're going to go for the, yeah, I'm going to deal, kill all your units type game plan, which, kind of sucks. But, not a surprised. Not surprised. Let's go ahead and deploy out Barris. I mean, I could sneak attack, I guess. Let's sneak attack out Martian row. Get in for, well, 10 damage, I suppose. It is a good chunk. Pass, sneak attacks gone. Oh my gosh, that is a million different sneak attacks. I mean, sometimes you just have a million sneak attacks. That's the game plan, I guess. We drew every single sneak attack possible. Let's attack in for 3. They have 8 resources. They could play a lot of different cards here. Ooh, did they make a mistake? Because I'm going to sneak attack out Martian, and if they have no additional way to pump their units or a Sentinel, we win. I think this is the play. I could play out Mercenary Gunship. They're force throwing us, which means they're hoping that we have something to kill Martian row, and we do not, which means it is GG. So despite that absolutely horrid start for us, like absolutely horrid, about as bad as it could possibly get, we did draw the triple sneak attack draw, which was pretty sweet, and we ended up getting there. So good stuff for us. All right, what did we learn with this Barris red combo deck? Guys, I've played a lot of combo decks for our videos here on Star Wars Unlimited, and honestly, I am just very convinced that they just don't work. I don't think Star Wars Unlimited is a game that it's really going to ever be something that you want to do unless there is a big change in either the meta or some sort of change to the rules or the direction of the game. Because the actions back and forth and the inability to really set up and have your opponent to interact with everything. Because the thing with this versus, like, let's say a game like Magic is Magic, you gotta just do your combo and your opponent has to play cards outside of the normal typically to interact with you, or be playing a deck that is meant to interact with you. Whereas in this game, you play units that are combo elements and your opponent can just kill them because they have horrible stat lines. Despite that, I will say we went in some pretty big games today, and we did some pretty good work with the deck. And this isn't necessarily just a pure combo deck, but I do think like these 3 to 4 card combo decks, which to be honest isn't like that strong to begin with, but that type of game plan where like, oh, I want to play a couple raid units, or even necessarily just like play a card like Marchion Row in the first place. You know, playing a card like this requires you to have other raid units for it to be exceptional. Otherwise, you just play like Kylo Ren. Like if Kylo Ren was in Marchion's Row spot, it would have just been better in a couple spots here. And because it just, you know, gets in for more damage. But the overall game plan was sweet, and that's kind of the point of it. We get to play sneak attack. We play another 2 of them. We hopefully get to keep fighting and just knock someone out. Unfortunately, we didn't, but we did get the setup for it, and we did get some cool raid turns with like Lurking Tie, Strike Ship, or even Nile Marauder with the Marchion Row to smack in for massive chunks. So with that said, hopefully you all enjoyed. We didn't get the Independent Smuggler Strike Ship. Now there are 2 of them. Keep fighting Marchion Row combo, the 5-card combo, plus Surprise Strike to kill on turn 3. But we did have some fun, and we did crush some players. So hopefully you guys give this a try and actually combo off. But for today, I will see you all tomorrow.